In the last 5 years, Travis Scott has been locked in a cold war with the Swiss watch industry. So today, we're counting down the 10 most iconic watches in his collection. And by the end of this countdown, you'll find that one of his watches costs more than a Beverly Hills mansion. Let's get into it. Starting our countdown at number 10 is the Rolex King Midas. This is one of the most unique and bizarre watches Rolex has ever made. Designed in the early 1960s by the legendary Gérald Genta, the King Midas was sculpted from a single block of 18-karat gold. Interestingly, at the time of its release, it was literally the heaviest gold watch on the market, weighing nearly 200 grams. Elvis Presley owned one, John Wayne owned one, the James Bond villain Scaramanga wore one on screen, and our guy Travis keeps this piece of history in his collection as an affirmation to the era when luxury watchmaking was unbothered art. Today, depending on the reference and condition, the King Midas trades between $30,000 and $135,000 at auction. Sure, a vintage gold tank is a class act, but Travis didn't stay in the 70s for long. Coming up at number 9 is the AP Royal Oak Frosted Gold. Let's unpack this piece, shall we? For starters, the case is hammered with 18-karat white gold. It's finished with the iconic frosted technique developed by Florentine jeweler Carolina Bucci. Travis was spotted wearing this vintage piece during a dinner in Houston back in 2019. At retail, this piece was priced at $104,600. On the secondary market, it commands between $240,000 and $325,000. Now, a rainbow bezel is one thing, but number 8, Travis went underground. The Richard Mille RM 011 Brown. Now, this watch entered the world in 2010 as something that had never been done before. It was the very first brown case watch ever made by Richard Mille, and Travis had to get one. He's been photographed with this watch multiple times, but the most notable sighting was during a studio session in 2022. Now, here's where it gets specific. There were 2 boutique editions of this reference. The first was limited to 30 pieces for the American market and had a rose gold inner bezel. The second edition, the one Travis wears, has a white bezel with white inserts in the chronograph pushers. That version was made in just 50 pieces, exclusively for the Asian market. Secondary market prices for the RM 011 Brown Boutique Edition run between $150,000 to over $200,000, with auction records exceeding $430,000 for special references. 50 pieces for the whole world is rare, but the next watch, Travis wore it on the cover of one of the biggest magazines on the planet. Making its way to number 7 is the Richard Mille RM 0703. Travis was spotted wearing this piece back in 2021 during a casual outing in Los Angeles. It's part of the 2019 Richard Mille's Bonbon collection, which is inspired by pop art and confectionery. You've got pastel ceramic inserts that literally look like marshmallows embedded in the case. Actually, the thing about Travis is that he doesn't do anything by accident. This watch represents the playful side of his personality. The same guy who made an album called Astro World and turned a theme park into a tour is wearing candy on his wrist. Now, only 30 pieces were made globally. The original retail price was approximately $153,000. However, collectors are paying between $250,000 and $450,000 on the secondary market just to get their hands on one. Although this particular watch shows Travis's personality, the next watch is all about his influence. At number 6 is a watch Travis spent 4 years building. In December 2023, Audemars Piguet took over their AP house in New York and unveiled something unprecedented. It was the Royal Oak Perpetual Calendar Openworked Cactus Jack. This is a 200-piece limited edition that Travis Scott co-designed from the ground up. He called it the Chocolate AP when he rapped about it on his albums. We're not surprised because the details are pure Cactus Jack. Even the typography on the calendar is based on Travis's handwriting. Then the caseback is engraved with Utopia is a state of mind. The retail price of this watch was set between $178,000 to $201,000. However, industry insiders estimate that these are trading north of $700,000 and $850,000. Now, if you're enjoying this list, hit that like button and subscribe. More to come right after this. Up next on our countdown is the Richard Mille RM 69. The Richard Mille RM69 is called the Erotic Tourbillon, and it earns that name. Richard Mille launched it in 2015, drawing on a centuries-old tradition of erotic pocket watches made for European aristocracy. But instead of miniature figures, the RM69 uses 3 titanium rollers at the top of the dial, inspired by Tibetan prayer wheels. Travis also has this piece in his collection. Do you know why? This watch is maximally provocative on the surface and technically brilliant underneath. A 505 component manual tourbillon movement with a 69-hour power reserve. He wore it publicly without a hint of apology. To crown it all, only 30 pieces are in existence, and you need to have over $700,000 to get one of them. Now, the next piece moves away from shock value and into something much more poetic. The Patek Philippe Celestial. Multiple sources confirm that Travis owns a version of the Celestial alongside icons like Drake. The 44mm rose gold case is set with 38 baguette diamonds, but the dial is the star. This dial is a rotating map of the night sky of the northern hemisphere. It shows the phases of the moon, the orbit of the moon, and the time of day. Let's just say this piece is an astronomical instrument dressed as a watch. Considering that one of his famous albums is titled Astro World, it makes complete sense that the astronomical watch would catch his eye. Travis has been spotted wearing the Celestial on multiple occasions, and every single time, watch people who catch it do a double take. On the flip side, if you're interested in owning one, prices range from $650,000 to $720,000. Now, up to this point, we've seen complicated and provocative watches. Now we've arrived at one of the most recognizable luxury watches ever created. Making it to our third spot is the Patek Philippe Nautilus. This is the most desirable watch in the world, but the reference Travis Scott owns is not the standard steel Nautilus that collectors line up for. This is the version that Patek Philippe made for people who look at the regular Nautilus and thought they wanted more. The entire 40mm white gold case, bracelet, bezel and dial are covered in over 1,343 diamonds. More reason Drake has one, Post Malone owns one, and Kylie Jenner is not left out either. Even Nicki Minaj reportedly put hers on her son for a photo shoot, and our guy Travis, he wears his to the studio. See, the context here matters. Because this watch among series collectors is seen as the obvious Travis Scott purchase, it's the one that makes complete sense on paper. You want to get one for yourself? You need up to $680,000 in your piggy bank. But this is number 3 on this list, not number 1, which means that there are 2 watches above it that are more expensive and revealing about who he actually is. Taking our runner-up position is the Richard Mille RM 2704. Now, this watch was made to commemorate 10 years of Richard Mille's partnership with Rafael Nadal. The entire engineering brief was to build a tourbillon that Nadal could wear on a tennis court without it dying. As you can see, the result is extraordinary, even though Travis Scott doesn't play tennis. What drew him to this watch is what draws him to everything in his collection. It's extreme engineering in service of a concept. That's why he wore it to the Las Vegas Grand Prix in November 2025. And did you know this watch also weighs only 30 grams? That's lighter than a stack of 4 credit cards. Yet, it can survive shocks of over 12,000 Gs. How's that? Because the entire movement is suspended by a 0.27mm steel cable woven like a tennis racket. Travis was flexing this over $1 million beast in the pit, proving he wears the most durable tech in the world just to watch a car race. Which brings us to the watch sitting at the very top of this list. To crown our collection today is the RM 7501 Flying Tourbillon Sapphire. In January 2026, Travis Scott attended Véronique Nichagnon's final Hermès show wearing this watch. It's only limited to 10 pieces worldwide. Nichagnon had been the artist director of Hermès menswear for 38 years. It was the end of an era for one of the greatest houses in fashion, and Travis showed up with a watch that costs more than most people's homes. The blue RM 7501 Flying Tourbillon is reportedly valued at over $3 million. It debuted in 2025 with a 46.75mm case crafted from 3 pieces of machined synthetic sapphire. The entire case is pure sapphire crystal with no metal. just transparent sapphire, machined over more than 1,000 hours per watch. By choosing this specific piece for Nichagnon Swan Song, Scott bridged the gap between the heritage craftsmanship of the Parisian house and the technical audacity of Richard Mille. So, if Travis Scott's watch collection is all about style, what does your watch say about you? Are you collecting for the gram or for the history books? Let us know in the comments down below. Meanwhile, if you want to know which watches are dominating the NFL locker rooms in 2026, click the video on your screen right now. See you in the next one.